Good evening and welcome to the Varsity Sports Show. I'm Olivia Prickett alongside Alex Medina, live on the call tonight in Mesa for Mountain View versus Dobson. It's the Arizona Cardinals girls flag football game of the week. We have pretty exciting game tonight. We've got Devod Wilson out there for the coin toss between the captains of tonight's game. Now we have an exciting game ahead of us tonight. Now, what do you expect?
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. Dobson, they've won 5 games, lost 6, and their Arizona ranking is 42. And then when you look at the Mountain View Toros, they're ranked second in the state, and their national rank is 30. So a big difference. Mountain View won the state championship last season,
Yeah.
and they've been doing pretty good. They're second in the state behind Hamilton High School, who is undefeated. So it's going to be an interesting game. I know Dobson is coming off of a 5-game losing streak, so they're hoping to come out of here with a win. But the atmosphere here at Mountain View, it's going to be tough for Dobson.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, considering the fact that it is Arizona Cardinals night, sort of in favor of Mountain View tonight, as it is kind of their team that they follow, besides Hamilton as well, which are the top two teams ranked in Arizona. It'll be interesting to see how Dobson can come out and play against the Mountain View Toros, but it'll be exciting for them as they're pretty fired up. And our field correspondent Layla Ruderman talked to head coach of Dobson, and he just said that this is a rival game. They're gonna bring their A game, and there's a lot of excitement on that sideline.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely going to be interesting. And then when you look at the stats, obviously Mountain View sets themselves apart. Girls flag football is not the only sport that they excel in. They're also doing pretty good in football and baseball, softball, and basketball. So they are really a great school for sports. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens tonight.
Yeah, for sure. So now that I mentioned our interview with head coach from Dobson, thanks to Layla Ruderman, we're gonna roll that interview now.
Layla Ruderman reporting live here at Mountain View High School, where I am joined with Dobson head coach Joe Polanco. Coach, thank you for joining me. Your team is coming off a losing streak. How do you encourage them to stay positive tonight?
So basically, a lot of our games have been tough. It's been on us. We had a lot of opportunities, missed opportunities for us to put games away, stay in games, and compete. So at the end of the day, it's us. So we just keep grinding. We'll keep practicing, building off what we've learned, and try to just win more plays and lose. So.
What has this week of practice looked like in preparation for Mountain View?
Because it's Mountain View, that's a rival game to us. It's a Mesa school, so being that they're defending state champs kind of amped it up even more. So, yeah, we know we got to bring our A game to compete with these girls here on their home turf.
And tonight is the Arizona Cardinals flag football game of the week. What level of excitement or added pressure does that bring to you tonight?
They're excited. Like I said, I told them, obviously the big old Jumbotron is distracting, but like I said, at the end of the day, we just got to play ball. We got to try to win more plays and lose, and hopefully we'll come out on top.
Well, great. Thank you so much. Best of luck to you, Coach. Back to you guys. Layla Ruderman reporting live here at Mountain View High School, where I am joined with Mountain View head coach Jesus Arzaga. Coach, thank you for joining me. Your team is coming off a 3-game win streak. How do you plan to continue that here tonight?
We talked about it a lot during practice, just continuing the physicality and the mentality of staying on top of what we're trying to accomplish. And if we stick with our game plan and limit the turnovers, we should come out on top.
You have a stellar quarterback, Tierra Metcalf. What does she add to this offense?
Her grit, first off, but the one thing I like about her is that she just doesn't care. It's so awesome. When she throws an interception, she's come in laughing and joking around, just getting ready for the next play. So when you have somebody that, it's not necessarily she doesn't care, it's just her poise is so awesome that she's able to be successful in a lot of the drives that she carries down the field.
Tonight is the Arizona Cardinals flag football game of the week. What kind of added excitement or pressure does that bring to your team tonight?
So I tried to prepare them that before practice, and it's more so of a privilege, right? State champions last year, and then this year just being a part of the Arizona Cardinals is just a privilege to be here. So, and we appreciate the Arizona Cardinals. We appreciate the Arizona Sports Show as well to be out here and continue to support these women because they deserve it for sure.
Well, thank you so much, Coach. Back to you guys.
All right, we are back. We just heard from head coach from Dobson, Joe Polanco, and Mountain View High School head coach, Jesus Arzaga. Now, Jesus kind of touched on how it's their game of the week, and, they just want to limit the turnovers that they have this game. And, their quarterback has been a very strong player for them, number 3, Tiara Metcalf. She just has an awesome poise, he said. She just goes out and she's just very calm, cool, and collected. And that's really something that, they kind of, any team kind of needs in a quarterback in that leadership position.
Yeah, for sure. And Mountain View has a game-winning streak of 3, so they've definitely been racking up the wins. And Dobson's gonna come out here just trying to find a win tonight. So gonna be interesting, especially when you mentioned Tiara Metcalf. She's gonna try and keep the ball away from Dobson's defense. But I'm sure that they're coming into this game very hungry.
Yeah, for sure. And as both teams take the field, we will look to start the 12-minute first quarter. So yeah, it's a bit chilly out there tonight. Something that we're just getting into.
Yeah, it's cold and it went from hot to cold, but I think it's time to start bringing your coffee to the games. And,
Yeah.
there's a lot of people here tonight, and you look around and pretty much everybody's wearing a jacket. So, an
Yeah.
unfamiliar sight in Arizona.
Dobson with possession of the ball, able to make a little bit of a gain before Mountain View able to pull the flag. Number 24, Morgan Messer with
It's
the pull.
interesting to see how flag football has grown in the state of Arizona.
Yep.
Just a few years ago, it was sanctioned by the AIA, and, Hamilton High School's head coach Matt Stone had a big part of that. So, props to Matt Stone over there at Hamilton.
Yep.
Obviously, that team's undefeated.
Release to the quarterback who will make an incomplete pass to number 2, Kayla Hayes. We have quarterback out there, Emery Walker, I believe, for Dobson. Just unable to make that connection. Something that Dobson will have to make pretty early on. So hopefully they'll be able to establish that.
Yeah, and one thing about flag football that's really interesting is it's the first down is at the 20-yard line, the 40-yard line, and then the 20 again. So right now it is 2nd and 19.
Good completion there to number 5, Zyra Rankin. Able to complete that pass. That's something we just touched on. Just completing those passes pretty early on. Going to be huge for not only Dobson, but also Mountain View.
Yeah, for sure. And especially for Dobson right now, as it's 3rd and 12, they want to try and get the first down to just drive all the way to the end zone to
Yeah.
score some points early in the first quarter.
We're at 3rd and 12, running clock with 10 minutes and 45 seconds left in this first quarter. Release to quarterback number 8, who will make the completion to number 18 for Dobson, but flag was pulled by Mountain View.
Yeah, Mountain View's defense came out here ready to go and ready to stop Dobson. It's going to be interesting to see how Dobson handles Mountain View's offense and what they've
Yep.
been preparing for all week.
Yeah, Mountain View, a pretty strong offensive team. We will see them in defense, though, right now. Pretty spread out on the field, as you can see. Release there to the kicker, who will kick that to Mountain View, but she will fumble that a little bit. Number 3, Tara Metcalf, before she gets her flag pulled.
Yeah, and when you talk about strong offense, when you look at the history of Mountain View seasons against their opponents, they score their opponents well over. And in their last game against Chandler High School, it was 38-0. Before that, when they were at Mesa High School, it was 36-6. So they know what it's like to be in the end zone, and that's what they're looking to do tonight.
So it looks like we are in a shotgun position. Mountain View in offense to Tiara Metcalf, who will look for her wide receiver, and a good jump up there in effort to catch the ball, but Dobson will get in the way of that, and it'll be an incomplete pass.
Yeah, that one was a little bit close. I thought it might have been an interception, but it was able to come down and they'll have another shot here.
So we are at 2nd and 7. 9 minutes and 30 seconds left in this first quarter. Mountain View in offense. Release to Tiara Metcalf. The cool, calm, and collected quarterback who will use her legs to gain for Mountain View before getting her flag pulled by Dobson.
Yeah, she was able to get the first yard, so that's a good thing if you're on the Mountain View side. And now they'll be looking to just keep on going. Now, as we mentioned earlier, it is the Cardinals game of the week, so they are here, and so is Devon Wilson, the cornerback of the Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah.
And he actually played in the Dolphins.
Tiara Metcalf with the completion to her wide receiver, number 22, Lucy Lamoureux.
So a pretty cool night for the girls on the field when it comes to flag football and getting
Yeah.
some recognition.
Yeah, for sure. And the Arizona Cardinals have done an amazing job at just getting flag football noticed and really out there. And you got to respect that as a professional football team to give some credit to the girls out there on the field. Now, Lucy Lamoureux will make that completion and she will run straight into the end zone for a Mountain View Toros touchdown just 8 minutes into this first quarter.
What a big play for Mountain View and a big confidence boost for the team. Obviously they probably don't need it since they're ranked second in the state, but what a big play, especially for this game tonight.
Yeah, for sure. Tiara Metcalf, we talked about her, able to not only use her arms but also use her legs, just very poised out there, and able to make that connection with number 22, her wide receiver, Lucy Lamoureux, for the touchdown there. Now we will see number 6, Cameron Holverson, able to make that field goal, so it is now 7-0.
Yeah, so a good start for Mountain View. Now Dobson will be looking to answer back, but
Yeah.
early on into this first quarter, what do you think the big takeaway is for Dobson?
Yeah, I mean, considering that the Toros were able to just score a touchdown, I think they're going to come out firing and with a little bit more of, their excitement and their play ball mentality. They'll go out on their offensive run and I think try and do their best to gain as many yards as they can and find their way closer and closer to that end zone.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to see, and it's interesting when you look at the overall stats of both teams. Obviously Mountain View ranked very highly, and their completion rate 70.3%. And then when you look at Dobson, 54.7%. So a big, big takeaway for both teams in the 6A East Valley Conference.
Yeah. So Dobson, I believe, called a timeout on this. First timeout of the night. Just 8 minutes left in this first quarter. Just probably a timeout to calm them down. If it is a timeout, I didn't really see a timeout call on the field, but just a moment for both teams to calm down, but really for Dobson to just collect themselves and get ready for going out on their offensive run.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting to see what Dobson does and what their game plan is, especially now that they're down. They don't want to get too far behind. So
Yeah.
it's going to be interesting to see if they can make a better drive than the last one.
Yeah, for sure. So we will see both teams taking the field. Dobson looking to make a successful offensive run, collecting themselves in between that 30 and 20-yard line. Number 14, Emily Santoyo, will release this ball to the quarterback, who will attempt to make a pass but will be blocked by number 24, Morgan Messer, on the Toros.
Yeah, Mountain View's defense is really good When you look at the interceptions, Jade Urkov leads the team. She's had 4 this season, and then obviously Eve Denton with 5 sacks
Yeah.
during the entire season. So a big difference maker on the defensive side.
Emily Santoyo will release this ball to quarterback for Dobson, but there will be a flag on the play.
And it's going to look like it's false start. So Dobson will move backwards.
Yeah. Not exactly what Dobson was looking for. Moving further back in between the 30 and 20-yard line, so on that 25-yard line. Not really what Dobson needed, but they're at least attempting to make those throws. There's that effort out there. At least they're not throwing the ball away completely. She's finding her wide receivers out there, so I'm expecting to see a completion right here. Now we see some motion from number 2, Kayla Hayes, who will make the catch, and she will make a run before her flag gets pulled by number 14, Jersey Levitt. Good gain for the Mustangs.
Yeah, that play is a big difference maker. And when you have plays like that, it just goes to show that your team really can move the ball. So
Yeah.
it boosts their confidence. So we'll see if they can make their way into the end zone on this drive.
So the Mustangs now on the 35-yard line will release to their quarterback, who will make almost a complete pass before the ball just slips out of number 2, Kayla Hayes' hands. And Mercedes Torres, the quarterback for the Mustangs, has done a really good job at spreading out the ball, spreading out her offense.
Yeah, and Kayla Hayes, obviously she's one of the top receivers for Dobson, but
Yeah.
when you look at the quarterbacks, obviously Mercedes Torres in the game right now, and she leads the team with passing touchdowns, so a big difference maker on the Mustangs side.
And Mercedes Torres, number 6 for the Mustangs, will be blocked by the Toros in an effort to throw the ball. Good stuff from the Toros.
Yeah.
Really strong defense there.
Yeah, and another thing to take note of is that, obviously Mercedes Torres is a sophomore, but also the other quarterback is as well. Heaven Walker is Dobson's backup, so both are sophomores
Yeah, young team out there.
for sure.
Love to see the development though. They'll take this program a long way for sure. We will now see the Toros in offense as Tiara Metcalf has possession of the ball but will be blocked by the Mustangs. Number 21, Elena Garcia, who looks like she has a little bit of discomfort there on her hand, shaking off her hand a little bit. I wonder if it's a little bit chilly out there, kind of caught her fingers.
Yeah, it's getting colder and colder. But
Also could have just, bent a finger the wrong way. You never know, but we'll see the Toros in offense again. Possession of the ball. Tara Metcalf will look for a receiver, and she will make a successful throw to number 11, Emma Fishbeck, who will run that into the end zone for a Toros touchdown, second of this quarter.
yeah, what a big start for the Toros. Obviously that's 2 passing touchdowns
Yeah.
for their quarterback, and obviously Emma Fishbeck just pulled that one down and was able to add some more points to the board. And she's also a multi-sport athlete, so
Yeah.
a big day for her right now.
Gotta love the athleticism that we're starting to see in these high school sports.
Yeah, for sure. And then when you look at, across the board, obviously Hamilton is undefeated. They're playing Perry today. So going to be an interesting game to see who comes out on top. Obviously Hamilton is undefeated with 10-0, so
Yeah.
they're just looking to keep their streak going. So,
And they're doing a great job doing so, as both of their touchdowns were just about 3 minutes apart from each other. So the way that the Toros are able to get in that position where they are in offense and able to just make those successful drives really says a lot about this team.
Yeah, they're looking all over the field just trying to find that open person, and they're able to find it.
Now quarterback Mercedes Torres will throw, but it'll just be a little far of number 5, Zyra Rankin, unable to complete that pass.
Yeah, and right now, obviously, Dobson is with the ball. Last season, the team finished the season with an overall record of 6-7. So they're looking to improve on that one.
Yeah.
And this will not be their only game this week. Dobson will be set to play against Mesa on Thursday, and Mesa's overall record is 5-4. Tonight, Mesa is playing Red Mountain.
So pretty good matchups there, and Red Mountain's pretty even there with Dobson and even on that the rankings there. Now another incomplete pass from Torres.
Yeah, that one was almost taken down by Mountain View.
Yeah, number 17, Kaylee Yazzie, able to get in front of that ball. Really strong defense from the Toros, like we've seen pretty early on in this game tonight. So number 14, Emery Santoyo, release to the quarterback, and that will be an interception for number 17, Kaylee Yazzie, who we just saw with a successful block, able to find her way into the end zone for yet another Toros touchdown.
Yeah, Kaylee Yazzie just making some plays out there on the defensive side, obviously, and now 20-0, as you just mentioned, in the first quarter,
Yeah.
and Mountain View is fired up down there.
Yeah, we've seen amazing stuff from the Toros tonight. Just their way of going about playing the game. They're just very aggressive out there on the field, and I haven't seen really a a thing where they need to improve on. I think they're just doing an amazing job tonight. And Dobson has gone out and, played their best game. It's really hard to go against a team like the Toros, who are number 2 in Arizona.
Well,
So,
especially on a night like this. And when you
yeah,
look at the national ranking, they're 30. Obviously Dobson is ranked 557th, so a big difference.
yeah,
But, obviously Mountain View is just performing well on both sides, defensive and offensive.
yeah. So we now have a score of 21-0, Toros in the lead with 3 minutes and 30 seconds left on the clock. Now we will see Dobson in offense again. Torres throws the ball, attempts to throw the ball to Samantha Armaneta, but it is blocked.
Yeah, and that was Jersey Levitt who got in the way of that one. So, the defense just playing a great game tonight.
Yeah, and we've seen a lot of great defense from Jersey Levitt. She's done an amazing job tonight. I think that's the second block we've seen from her.
Yeah.
Emily Santoyo will release the ball to Torres, and Torres will throw the ball to number 2, Kayla Hayes, but throws it just a little bit low and kind of finds her legs rather than her arms there.
Yeah, and obviously Mountain View is led by Jesus Arzaga. Jesus Arzaga also coaches the boys baseball program here at Mountain View. So a dedicated coach to the sports program here at Mountain View High School in Mesa, Arizona.
Throw to number 4, who will then attempt to throw to number 6, Mercedes Torres. Just kind of like a little bit of a passing game there. Just unable to make the connection. Now the Toros will take the field again in defense. Very spread out there. And we will see Emily Santoyo again with the ball. Now number 3 for the Toros will pass it over to number 22, I believe. Able to make a long run for the Toros. Yeah, number 22, Lucy Lamoureux, who scored the first touchdown of the game.
Yeah, and Lucy Lamoureux has made her presence felt on every side of the game. Obviously, she leads the team in receiving yards per game, and she averages about 70 per game. And then when you look at receiving touchdowns, she has 5. And then total touchdowns, she has 10. So she runs them in and she brings them down in the end zone, but she just makes her presence felt on every single side of the game.
Yeah, and you just gotta love the all-out effort that we've seen from Lucy Lamoureux tonight. And with that stat, we're going places.
Yeah, for sure. And then you mentioned you're going places. Flag football, they have JUCO programs across the nation. They're still working on NCAA, but it's developing very quickly.
Yeah, and given that she is a senior, she has the chance if NCAA does end up, forming a girls flag football sport. Now, number 8 with the completion pass.
What a big play for Mountain View, and that was Emma Fishbeck who brought that one down, and now Mountain View will be at the 25-yard line in Mustangs territory.
Yeah, and Peyton Warren able to catch that ball and make a good gain for the Toros. So we now see the Toros in offense, which is dangerous, as we've seen them in this position the last 4 times, and they were able to make a touchdown. 3 times. Now, complete pass to number 21, Paige Hunt, making a pretty good gain there for the Toros before getting her flag pulled by Dobson's defense. Now we're 1st and 17 with 30 seconds left in this first quarter. Toros able to find their way into the end zone if they are able to make this pass complete. Now, Metcalf using her legs, but gets her flag pulled by number 8, Samantha Armanetta, on Dobson's defense.
Yeah, so Toros making their way closer and closer to the end zone to score some more points. Right now, 21-0, and we're still in the first quarter, 2nd and 14.
No, I believe that we just entered the second quarter. So we have 12 minutes on the clock, about to start the second quarter. So we will see both teams kind of take a cool, calm, and collected, break as we enter the second quarter.
Yeah, and I'm sure down there on the Mountain View side, they are just pumped up. They're having a great game tonight. And then on the Dobson side, it would be interesting to hear what Coach Joe Polanco is saying to his team. Coming into the game, he was very optimistic and very encouraging of his team, who's coming off of a 5-game losing streak.
Yeah. Yeah, and so Dobson's played. They've held their own, and you kind of really have to not take a look at the score when we're this early on in the game. You can't count out the Mustangs yet.
Yeah, for sure. They just need to take the ball and drive it across the field. They're still in the game as long as they can hold the Toros. And, while the score is 21-0, they can still come back.
Yeah, for sure. So, hoping to see some good stuff as we enter the second quarter.
Yeah, and I always say this, but the team that wins is the team that eliminates the mistakes. And it's going to be interesting to see if Mountain View stays on top of their game and if Dobson is able to make their way back into the game.
Yeah, and it's normal for teams with this lead that they have pretty early on in the game to kind of, just kind of ride out the rest of the game. Just kind of take a chill, like, rest of the game. But I really don't think we'll see that from the Toros. I think we'll just see them continue to fire.
Yeah, I agree. And especially when you look at their history, as I mentioned earlier.
Yeah. So we will see both teams taking the field as we enter this second quarter with a game score of 21-0. The Toros up by 21. And we will see the Toros in offense with Tiara Metcalf going to receive this ball. Metcalf in possession of the ball, and she will throw to number 9, Tatum Eaton, who will go in for the touchdown.
Yeah, and Tatum Eaton is also a multi-sport athlete here at Mountain View.
I believe that's my mistake. Alexis Archibald actually was able to make the touchdown on that one. You know, the numbers are so small, it's kind of hard to see, and for me, I don't know, 5 and 9
Yeah.
look pretty similar.
Yeah, especially. And you mentioned their numbers are small, so that was Alexis Archibald with the touchdown.
Good stuff from the Toros as they were able to make that successful field goal with now a score of 28-0, just 5 seconds into the second quarter.
Yeah, and Tiara Metcalf just improving on her passing touchdowns and her quarterback ranking. You know, coming into this game, 96.2% was her quarterback ranking, and she's just been able to add more and more touchdowns to that tonight.
Yeah, and we see the Mountain View Toros are hyped up on that sideline as, you know, they've just simply played an amazing game. And like Coach Arzaga said, they've limited their turnovers for sure. So another incomplete pass there from Mercedes Torres to number 5, Zyra Rankin for the Mustangs.
Yeah, and on Thursday, both of these teams play another game. Mountain View will be facing off against Westwood High School, and then Dobson will be facing off against Mesa. And, you know, obviously in high school football, there's just one game a week.
Yeah.
In flag football, there's multiple. So really interesting, but it gives the athletes some more time to prepare and practice.
Yeah, for sure. Now, Mercedes Torres able to complete that pass to number 2 before getting her flag pulled by number 16, Kaylee Thurman for the Toros. And now, like you said, they're playing on Thursday, a little Halloween game.
Yeah, you know, it's going to be fun and exciting. I bet they're pumped up for it.
Yeah. I mean, won't be able to go out and go trick-or-treating, but what's better than being on the field?
Yeah. I remember when I played softball in high school, right after I just went and got some candy.
Yeah, I mean, there you go. That's the only right way to do it.
It's Halloween.
Now the release to Torres, who will make that successful throw to number 2 for the Mustangs, Kayla Hayes, who we have seen play an amazing game tonight for the Mustangs before getting her flag pulled.
Yeah. You know, it's going to be interesting to see what Mountain View does in the second quarter. You know, there's 9 minutes left to go, and right now, 1st and 17. So they still have some yards to go for the first down, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah. So we see both teams meet at the line of scrimmage. Kayla Hayes will be at the release point to Mercedes Torres. Now Mercedes Torres in possession of the ball. She will throw back to Kayla Hayes, but that will be an incomplete pass as that just kind of fumbles out of her hands a little bit.
Yeah, and Sky Reedhead was just creeping up right behind her, so that one was almost picked off.
Yeah,
But
so
they were able to knock it down, so they'll get
yeah.
another chance here.
Yeah, we see the Toros defense just really testing the Mustangs offense. And, you know, maybe it'll allow the Mustangs to kind of just fire up a little bit more.
Yeah, for sure.
Now we see Torres meet Hayes again before her flag gets pulled by the Toros defense.
And when you look around, you know, the football team is actually also practicing while the game is going on. So it just goes to show how dedicated Mountain View is to their sports programs. And I believe that that's also the JV team there with the varsity team.
Yeah, I mean, I love the environment here. It's a really cool campus that Mountain View has.
Yeah,
I mean, beautiful views, beautiful sunset we had earlier, and gotta love the football uh, fields being right next to each other. Now Kayla Hayes able to make the successful catch before getting her flag pulled by the Toros defense. We've seen that connection from Torres to Hayes all night. That's really been her go-to. Now, it hasn't really been successful for the Mustangs, causing them to call a timeout. But what have you seen in this Mustangs offense?
yeah, I have to agree with you. That duo between the quarterback and the receiver is just, you know, they're just trying to get that rhythm going. But one thing that I have seen throughout the game is that they're trying to get their passing game going, but they're
Yeah,
not really focusing on the running game. And obviously Mountain View is ready for the passing plays. So, maybe Dobson will try and sway off of that and maybe try some running plays, but
yeah,
it's going to be interesting to see what they do. They're going to have to find an answer here, 28-0 here in the second quarter.
yeah, for sure. And like you mentioned, their running game just hasn't really been on tonight. So looking to see more of that, as we near the end of the second quarter and as we reach the second half. Now, Mercedes Torres will receive possession of the ball, but she will be sacked by number 15, Sky Reedhead. Good defense there from the Toros. So the Toros will now be in possession of the ball. 7 minutes and 50 seconds left on the clock in this second quarter.
It will be interesting to see what happens after halftime, and the messages that are being told to the teams at halftime.
So we'll see the release from Paige Hunt, and Tiara Metcalf will find Lucy Lamoureux with a successful completion before getting her flag pulled. Lucy Lamoureux has just been amazing for the Toros. We kind of touched on it earlier. Her ability to really get this Toros offense and just team overall really fired up with that touchdown. And I think that's played a huge role in their success that we've seen in this game with the score of 28-0. Now number 21, Paige Hunt will release this ball to Tiara Metcalf. And Metcalf will look for a receiver, and just a little bit of miscommunication there between Metcalf and Lamoureux, as that will be one of the first incomplete passes that we have seen from Tiara Metcalf tonight. All right, the Toros offense ready to get started. Paige Hunt releases to Metcalf. Metcalf finds number 11, Emma Fishback, who will throw that ball a great length, looking to find Lamoureux, but just a little bit of a collision there.
Yeah, and there was a defender right there, so it's interesting to see that she would throw it over there. That visualization in her head. They were just looking to score some more points, but the defender was almost ready to take it back the other way.
Yeah,
So they're gonna go for it here on 4th and 11.
really aggressive Toros offense here, as they're going to go for this pretty far away from the end zone. So we'll see what the Toros can do in this effort. Another release to Metcalf. And Metcalf will run the ball, and she will be intercepted by number 20 for the Mustangs, Nyla Davis.
Yeah,
Good stuff.
what a big play for Dobson. It just takes one thing to get their team going, and that may have been it. they've just been trying to work their way down the field all game,
Yeah.
and now they're going to get on the offensive side and try and make their way to Toro's territory.
Yeah, and what a good way to make their way into offense, with that interception, really getting them fired up. Hopefully, we'll see some good stuff from the Mustangs in this offensive run. With 5 minutes and 22 seconds left in the second quarter, 1st and 1. So we'll have a little bit of a lull in the game. Believe a timeout. So
Yeah, and it just feels like it's getting colder and colder.
yeah, I'm looking at the weather right now, 66 degrees. How do we go from 120 to 66 in just I mean it's only been really 2 months, but so we've allowed time, but yeah, it's
It
definitely
was just
something to get
hot
used
the other
to.
day.
Yeah, I know. I was wearing a sweater to class yesterday and I was walking, I was like, "Oh, it'll be nice fall weather." And I was actually sweating, but now tonight I'm really happy that I brought a jacket.
Yeah.
Yeah, so both teams kind of taking timeouts here. Mountain View, we've kind of have sectioned into 2 different timeout groups. I think it might be their offense and their defensive squads, kind of separated there. And the Toros' defensive squad will take the field. And Dobson will look to make a run in offense. Keep it away from those Toros. They get intercepted, they'll, definitely try and make that run into the end zone. Now Mustangs release to Torres, who will look for, now will be an interception for number 13, Kendall Cox, for the Toros.
Yeah, and she made that one look easy. It looked like it was a pass going to her.
Yeah, and now had a little bit of a broadcaster's jinx there. I mean, I kind of mentioned how we don't want the Toros to get in possession of that ball for the Mustangs, but
And now they're going to be in Mustangs territory.
so now we see the Toros in offense, and Metcalf will not find a receiver, so that will be an incomplete pass for TR Metcalf. And like I mentioned earlier, and like Coach mentioned earlier, she just has that, poise to her, where she just kind of takes the hit and moves on.
Yeah, it's just about getting down and then getting back up. So that's exactly what she does.
Metcalf with a successful throw to, I believe, number 9, Tatum Eaton, who
Yeah.
might have just gotten her flag pulled right before reaching the end zone.
Yeah, and I think she was looking for the touchdown signal, but she didn't get it. So
Yeah.
now they're going to be marked at the 1 yard line. Actually, the 2.
So we are at 3rd and 2nd for the Toros in possession of this ball. Metcalf will call for motion, and she will use her legs to find the connection with number 8, Peyton Warren, her wide receiver. And that's the 4th wide receiver we've seen Metcalf connect with tonight and able to make that touchdown.
Yeah, Metcalf just having herself a game tonight and adding to her records, you know, and right before halftime. So it's going to be interesting to see what Dobson comes back and what their adjustments are in the second half.
So we see a successful field goal, extra point there for the Toros. So now we are at a score of 35-0. So we will see Metcalf called for motion, and she was able to find Peyton Warren there in the end zone for that touchdown. Good stuff from the Toros. Now we see Dobson taking the field in their offensive run again. I want to see the Mustangs get fired up here, and I want to see what they could do with the last 3 minutes that they got on the second quarter. Now Torres unable to complete that pass to, I believe she was going to Kayla Hayes again, who we see, she's just comfortable making those throws to.
Yeah, because boys football is a 35 point league.
Yeah, so now Dobson will be trying to make their way back, but the quarterback has already been picked off twice, and they're just trying to figure out a way to come back.
Dude, I just got an ESPN update. Someone tried to pull a ball out of.
All right, number 14, Emily Santoyo will release this ball to Mercedes Torres. She'll call for motion, and number 4, Josiah Bailey, in the motion there, able to get that handoff from Torres, able to gain a little bit of yardage, I believe, for the Mustangs. Now we are 3rd and 10, 2 minutes left in the second quarter with a score of 35-0.
Yeah, Mountain View just having themselves a game, and on a big night with the Arizona Cardinals here, along with Channel 3, Arizona's family.
I could second that about the Yankees. On one.
Love the coverage out here tonight.
Oh yeah.
It's good to see.
Yeah, for sure, especially with the new sport.
Torres will make that connection with Hayes, and Hayes will make the run before getting her flag pulled just beyond that 35-yard line. So that'll be a complete pass. Good stuff from the Mustangs, making a little bit of a drive down the field. And the Mustangs will call a timeout. And with those 2 connections that we just saw from the Mustangs, they're starting to get fired up here. And I bet this timeout is to really just, make sure that mentality is still there.
Yeah, and I think they're just trying to find a way to score right now because heading into the half after you score, it's a big difference.
Yeah, for sure. You really have that momentum there.
Yeah.
So.
But one thing that's interesting is that they have not made changes to their quarterback. They still have Mercedes Torres in there and Heaven Walker, also a quarterback. She's a sophomore, and she has thrown 7 touchdowns this season. She's the backup. So interesting after Torres has been picked off twice in the first half.
Yeah, now I'm curious to see if they will switch quarterbacks maybe after halftime. Give them each 2 quarters to really,
Yeah, that may be the case.
Now Torres unable to make that complete pass once again, kind of finding, the lower part of the field and into the dirt.
Yeah, and Joe Polanco is actually also on the football staff at Dobson High.
Mm-hmm.
So making a difference in both sides for boys and girls football.
Yeah, and he had some words of encouragement for his team as he knew that going into this game, facing the Toros, this was going to be a tough matchup for them, especially that it's the Arizona Cardinals, girls flag football game of the week. So just making sure his girls are kind of calmed down. Now we see an incomplete pass there from Tiara Metcalf to Annabelle Curtis, who we have not seen tonight. I believe that's Alexis Archibald. Again, numbers just a little too small for me. I can't. It's a little hard for me to see out there, but
They're small from here.
yeah, especially with the hair just kind of hanging down, kind of blocking the numbers a little bit. But we'll see the Toros in offense. Metcalf will look for number 22, Lucy Lamoureux. And she will get her flag pulled just beyond the 20-yard line.
Yeah, and the whistle's about to blow for the half, and nobody's called a timeout. So that's going to be it for this half.
So we saw a pretty successful first half for the Toros as they are up 35-0. Now, what do you expect to see from the Toros going into the second half?
I don't think they're going to slow down. I think they're going to come out and be just as aggressive as they have been this entire game. And on the Dobson side, I think it's going to be the same thing. But, I think that they're going to need to try and find a running game because obviously the passing game is not working. And as we mentioned just a little while ago, it's going to be interesting to see if they keep Torres in there or if they're going to bring in the backup, Heaven Walker.
Yeah, for sure. So we have a pretty exciting second half coming up. Thank you so much for tuning into the Varsity Sports Show. We will be right back after this short break.
Saturday, November 2nd, the Ohio State Buckeyes traveled to the 106,000-seat Beaver Stadium to clash in an all-time matchup with the Penn State Nittany Lions. After a narrow victory against USC, the Nittany Lions come into the matchup as underdogs, despite being at home and undefeated on the season. But there is a reason for that. This Ohio State team is a powerhouse out of the Big Ten that lost a heartbreaker to the number 1 ranked Oregon Ducks. This Buckeyes offense is very dangerous and has weapons at every single position. Will Howard has looked very accurate at QB. Quinshawn Judkins and Travion Henderson are an elite running back 1-2 punch, and receivers Emeka Egbuka and Jeremiah Smith have been 2 top receivers in the country so far. But look out for this Nittany Lion team to make this game interesting. Quarterback Drew Aller has looked stellar so far, along with steady back Nick Singleton, and the leading Penn State receiver actually being tight end Tyler Warren. He put up incredible numbers in an overtime victory against the Trojans from USC. Look for both offenses to come out firing on all cylinders for this game. It might come down to which team can get a big stop at the end of the game to seal the victory and solidify themselves as a top 5 ranked team in the country. For Varsity Sports, I'm Jace Greenke.
I'm Griffin Engelberg reporting for the Varsity Sports Show. At the Columbus Blue Jackets home opener, the team came together to commemorate the lives of Johnny Gaudreau and his brother Matthew, who tragically passed in a car accident on August 29, 2024. It was a night filled with emotion and reflection, with players, coaches, and fans, and family members remembering Johnny's passion for hockey and his bond with his teammates. The pregame ceremony featured both teams, including the Florida Panthers wearing number 13 jerseys in honor of Johnny. The tribute began with a 13-second moment of silence, symbolizing Johnny's jersey number. Fans watched a touching video montage featuring photos and memories of the Gaudreau brothers, highlighting their lives on and off the ice. As the video played, Johnny's wife Meredith and their 2 children, Noah and Johnny, stepped onto the ice. The crowd rose in support as a banner commemorating Johnny's life and career was raised to the rafters of the nationwide arena. To further mark the occasion, the Blue Jackets started the game with only 4 skaters on the ice, leaving Johnny's usual spot empty. His longtime friend and teammate, Sean Monahan, took the opening faceoff, a moment filled with emotional significance. Monahan later scored a goal, falling to the ice before pointing at Johnny's banner, a gesture that connected deeply with fans and players alike. Monahan expressed afterward how he felt Johnny's presence throughout the game, emphasizing the impact Johnny had on his friends, teammates, and the hockey world. This was Griffin Engelberg reporting for the Varsity Sports Show. Thank you for your time.
The Arizona Cardinals are coming off of a gritty walk-off Monday night win against the Los Angeles Chargers to bring their record to 3-4 on the young season. The Cardinals were led by their ground game as they rushed for 181 yards, 165 of them from James Conner and Kyler Murray. The defense was the story of this game as Jonathan Gannon and his defense had a much-needed bounce-back performance, not allowing a single touchdown and only allowing 15 points compared to the 34 they allowed against the Packers. They currently sit at second in the NFC West and just one game back of the Seattle Seahawks. The Cardinals have a tough task ahead of them, coming off of a short week as they head across the country to face the 2-4 Miami Dolphins, who are in much need of a win. The Dolphins, who have struggled so far to score, have reinforcements on the way as star quarterback Tua Tagovailoa is back after missing 4 weeks due to a concussion he suffered in Week 2 against the Buffalo Bills. With weapons all around him, the Dolphins will look to get back to their explosive ways, especially with Tyreek Hill being back with his quarterback. Both of these teams could use a win, so this game is going to be one to watch, as a loss really puts both teams in a tough spot. Cardinals will look to get rookie wide receiver Marvin Harrison Jr. going again, as he has been held silent ever since his massive 130-yard and 2-touchdown performance in Week 2 against the Los Angeles Rams. Reporting for Varsity Sports, I'm Sam Lanier.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Varsity Sports Show. I'm Travis Bradley reporting to you from the Walter Cronkite School of Journalism and Mass Communication. At the midpoint of the season, one thing is clear about the University of Arizona football program. They're not where they'd hoped they'd be. The Wildcats are sporting a less than desirable 3-4 record, and their most recent performance against head coach Deion Sanders and the Colorado Buffaloes raised quite a few questions about the program's ability to compete in the Big 12 Conference. Still, there's plenty of things to like about this team, and although their record isn't what they'd imagined it would be earlier this year, you can't deny the performances that some of their players have shown us in the first half of the season. Arizona will finish off their season with 5 consecutive conference matchups, starting off this week against the West Virginia Mountaineers and culminating in an in-state matchup against the 5-2 Arizona State Sun Devils. Quarterback Noah Fafita is currently ranked in the top 25 for passing yards across all conferences, and his wide receiver counterpart Tetairoa McMillan is seated securely in the top 10 for receiving yards. There's still plenty of football left to be played, and we'll see if the Wildcats have what it takes to finish out their season strong. That's all for this week. I'm Travis Bradley, and this is Varsity Sports Show.
Hi everyone, I'm Roberto Astorga from Arizona State University with the Varsity Sports Show. With November coming, Arizona high school football enters playoff season. The best teams compete for state titles. In 4A, there is a team that is undefeated and ranked number 1 by AZ Preps 365. They are the Snowflake Lobos. They represent the entire city of Snowflake, Arizona and the northwestern part of it. Being around 3 hours away from Phoenix, they have traveled to Show Low, Gilbert, Tempe, and even the Santan Valley on their undefeated season. Earlier in the season, I spoke with head coach Kay Solomon. He shared with me his goal of developing his athletes into good students and citizens. On the field, he is shooting for a region title and to contend for the conference. The Lobos are doing just that, being first in the region and in the entire conference. Coach Solomon also shared that his team was filled with experienced players. His players have been terrific, with senior running back Canton Turley having 8 rushing touchdowns. On the defense, senior linebacker Aiden Core leads the team with 14 tackles a game. Their starting quarterback, sophomore Jacob LeDuc, is one of the team's least experienced players, according to Solomon. LeDuc looks like he's been playing for years, as he has 10 total touchdowns. The Lobos have a great coach and talented players. They represent their city with pride and have taken over the White Mountains. They look to take over Arizona with the 4A state championship. For the Varsity Sports Show, Roberto Astorga. Hello everyone, my name is Roberto Astorga. I am a junior at the Cronkite School of Journalism at ASU and excited to be part of the Varsity Sports Show. I love watching and covering every sport, from golf to volleyball. Having lived my entire life in Arizona, I look forward to cover stories and games highlighting the great athletes and people this state has to offer.
Hello everybody, My name is Kavish Siddhartha, and I'm a junior at the Cronkite School of Journalism at ASU. I'm majoring in sports journalism and excited to be interning at the Varsity Sports Show. I love covering most sports, including basketball, soccer, football, and tennis. I look forward to being a part of broadcasts for Arizona sports this upcoming year.
What's up? I'm Matthew Ross, and I'm super excited to announce that I'm going to be one of the newest interns here at Varsity Sports. I'm currently studying at Arizona State University at the Walter Cronkite School of Mass Communications and Journalism. I'm a broadcast major, and I hope to sideline report one day for either the NFL or the NBA. My favorite sports include golf, volleyball, soccer, tennis, and football and basketball. But yeah, I'm excited to see you guys on the field.
Welcome back to the Varsity Sports Show. We are out here for Toros versus Mustangs girls flag football game of the week. Now, we just saw our very own sideline reporter Layla Ruderman be interviewed by Danny Zurek, the team reporter for the Arizona Cardinals. Big moment for Layla out there, as I was talking to her before the game, one of her idols. And, we love to see our interns out there getting the credit that they deserve. So, really good stuff. Excited to see that interview later. So, yeah, we just saw the game just got started back in the second half of this game. Dobson with the kick. And a bring down by number 2 for Dobson, Kayla Hayes. So we will see. I believe the Toros are in this offense.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens after the half. Obviously Dobson has been struggling to score 35-0, so they're just trying to make their way into the game.
Yeah, and I'm expecting to see the Mustangs come fired up after that halftime break. So now we see Metcalf with the handoff to Lamoureux before getting her flag pulled just past that 50-yard line. And we've really, Metcalf has really stressed that connection between her and Lucy Lamoureux. That's been her go-to throughout the whole night. And we've only seen success from those two in as far as completed passes.
Yeah, it's certainly a duo out there for the Toros.
So we will see the Toros reset in their offense. Hand off here to Metcalf. In motion to Lucy Lamoureux, but she will fake and keep possession of the ball as she gets sacked. So, really good fake as she got me. She got me there. I thought Lucy Lamoureux was in possession of that ball, but Metcalf kept the ball in her possession but was sacked, getting her flag pulled. So, good stuff there from the Mustangs in their defensive run. Hand off to Metcalf. She will find number 11 for the Toros, Emma Fishback, her second touchdown of the night.
What a big night for Emma Fishbeck. And you mentioned second touchdown of the night.
Yeah.
Now that has to be a big deal for her.
Yeah, love to see the effort from this Toros offense. And we've really seen Metcalf spread out her throws.
Yeah, and I think with that catch in the end zone by Emma Fishbeck, it put her on top of the receiving touchdowns list. Now, obviously she's had herself a game, so
we'll see a successful extra point there for the Toros. So we are now at a game of 42-0. So
yeah, a big, big day for the Mountain View Toros and a shutout right now. But we're going to see if Dobson can make their way back into the game.
Yeah.
They're going to be on the offensive side right now, so going to be interesting. But it looks like they are keeping in Mercedes Torres.
Yeah, so Mercedes Torres has been their go-to quarterback tonight. And we'll see that replay there. Emma Fishback able to catch that ball. What a loft there from Metcalf as Fishback finds her way into the end zone. Handoff to Torres, finding Hayes. Hayes will throw to number 4, Josiah Bailey, who will make that catch. What a good throw there from Hayes, finding her receiver, number 4, Billy. Good stuff there from the Mustangs, really getting them fired up in this second half, which we've wanted to see from the get-go since we saw the Toros up by 35 in just the first half.
Yeah, for sure. They definitely came out here ready to just make their way back into the game. What an incredible play there. And now it's going to be 1st and 2. So just 2 more yards, and we'll see what they can do here in just a moment.
Dobson's offense taking their positions.
No, on the player that was right in front of you.
Release to Torres. A little low, but Torres able to make that catch. Excuse me, not Torres, Kayla Hayes, who will make the run. Hyped up for the Mustangs. Love to see that energy out there. Despite how far down they are in the scoreboard, I really think that they're going to do at least get some points on the board in the second half.
Yeah, I have to agree with you, especially after just seeing that huge play. We haven't seen that since the beginning of the first quarter.
Yeah. So we will see Emily Santoyo, the center, hand off the ball to Hayes, who will then throw to Torres, and Torres will take possession of the ball and run that down before getting her flag pulled by, I believe, Emma Fishback. Excuse me, Sky Reedhead for the Toros. But yeah, I think this is the longest we've seen the Mustangs in possession of the ball on their offensive drives. So we're seeing some improvement here.
Yeah, for sure. But when it comes to the Dobson side, this will not be their first shutout if they can't manage to score. They've had 5 this season.
Santoyo will hand off to Torres, but an incomplete pass to Kayla Hayes, her go-to receiver on the night.
Actually, let me correct that. They've had 3 shutouts this season. One when they played Gilbert, one when they played Valley Vista, and then in their last game when they played Skyline. So just looking to break that streak. It's a 2-game streak of being shut out.
Hand off to Torres. Torres looking, gets intercepted by number 15, Sky Reedhead, able to make a good gain there. Reedhead she was waiting for that ball. She was on the prowl and she was able to gain possession of that ball.
Yeah, she read it correctly and she just brought it down and went running with it. And, what a disappointment on the Dobson side. From a drive that people thought, oh, well, maybe they can get back into the game.
Yeah.
And then it's intercepted. But, I'm sure Dobson will come back out and they'll just keep on going. They're very optimistic still. Nobody's hanging their head on their sideline. So you love that. And you love when you see that. And on the Mountain View side, you just have to applaud them. That's, I believe, 3 interceptions of the night.
Yeah, that Toro's defense has just done an amazing job at just getting in front of the ball or behind the ball, and just able to, like I said, on the prowl for that ball and able to take the Mustangs run and just keep their momentum moving.
Yeah, and I think if you're on the Dobson side at this point, you're just kind of trying to prevent the Toros from scoring. Obviously, that's the objective throughout the entire game, but especially right now, 42-0 with 5 minutes to go left in this third quarter. So they don't have much time left. And, I'm sure that if they can't score, they just want to stop the Toros from scoring.
Yeah, for sure. And like I mentioned earlier, when we were hearing from head coach Joe Polanco for the Mustangs, he was touching on how he feels that they've just had some missed opportunities. And what we've seen this game is just a lot of missed opportunities. And so, just keeping that play ball mindset and just really keeping that excitement up despite being down on the scoreboard will really be important for the Mustangs for the remainder of this game.
Yeah, and especially throughout the rest of their entire regular season, there's still a few games left before it is over. They have 3 games left on both sides for Dobson and Mountain View. So nearing the end of the season, Dobson just trying to improve on their last year's record. 5-4 is what they finished.
Now Metcalf gets sacked by number 4, Josiah Billy. And now we've seen Metcalf be sacked a few times too many tonight from the Mustangs. So the Mustangs have done a really good job defensively, keeping their eye on the quarterback and just really, going for her. If they see she has possession of the ball, they're rushing her.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. And when you look at the sacks, Amaya Malone leads the team on the Dobson side with 13.
Now, good play there from the Toros as number 11, Emma Fishbeck, was able to find Lucy Lamoureux in a little bit of she received it from Metcalf, tossed it over to Lamoureux, and you don't see that often, but the Toros just they got their plays nailed down.
They're showing off for the Cardinals. That's a Cardinals play.
Yeah, for sure. Taking notes, watching that film back. Now Metcalf looking for a receiver, doing her best not to get sacked, and she will release that ball and throws it to number 9, Tatum Eaton. Now, it looks like the ball may have touched the ground before reaching the hands of Eaton, but that will be recorded as a complete pass. So we are now 2nd and 6, 3 minutes and 50 seconds left on the clock with a 42-0 lead for the Toros. And the Toros are in offense, which is dangerous for the Mustangs. So we see the Toros setting up in their offense. Release to Metcalf. Metcalf looking for a receiver. Number 4 on her to sack her, and she will use her legs and get her flag pulled by Kayla Hayes. Now we've seen Metcalf, not only has she done an amazing job at using her arms and just, finding those connections, but she's also been able to use her legs, and that's really important in a quarterback.
Yeah, for sure. Being able to scramble and run a good route, that is very important. Just trying to find some yardage when there's no receivers open.
Yeah.
And Metcalf has done a great job of that tonight.
Now a fake to Lamoureux, and she will find that connection to number 8, Peyton Warren, who will keep her run going, able to juke out a few of those Mustangs defensive players, but gets her flag pulled just past the 35-yard line.
What a great play by Warren. She caught it right in the middle of the field. There was multiple defenders, as you mentioned. She was able to juke them out and just make her way through and gained a significant amount of yardage on that play.
Yeah, so we will see a timeout called, I believe, by the Mustangs. Nope, by the Toros. Now this timeout, I'm not really sure what motivated it, but it could be just a little bit of a tweak. Now we see the coach out there kind of demonstrating something that he wants to see on the field.
Yeah, and that's exactly why the Toros are so good. Their coaching staff is very dedicated to just making them better. And it's interesting to see really just they're up 42-0 right now and they're still going. They're still finding ways to do something better and to improve.
Yeah.
So that explains why they won state last year and why they're second in the state.
Yeah, and we'll definitely make a run in the playoffs this year.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
So we will see the Toros in offense again, and that will be released to Lamoureux, who will make a good run before getting her flag pulled by number 8, Samantha Armanetta.
Ball carried by number 22, Lucy Lamoureux.
And, good defense there from the Mustangs, able to pull that flag before letting Lucy Lamoureux get a little too far and a little too close to that end zone.
Yeah, and I know you mentioned earlier Metcalf and Lamoureux just connecting, and we saw it again right there.
So we see Lucy Lamoureux in the quarterback position, it seems, or she's just on the receiving end of that ball, trying to find Metcalf, but that'll be an incomplete pass. Now we're seeing something from the Toros that we haven't seen at all tonight.
Yeah, this is just an incredible game for them. And they've scored well over their opponents throughout the season. When they played Basha, it was 24-0, and then when they went against Verado, 28-0, and then Queen Creek 21-0. So, it's not a surprise that this is the score, but this is the highest they've ever scored.
Oh, good interception there from number 18 for the Mustangs.
Yeah,
Now that's something we want to see.
yeah, just a great play by the Mustangs and exactly what they need to do to just kind of, obviously they haven't been able to score in this game, but when you're on the Dobson side, you're just looking for any way possible to stop the Toros.
Yeah, for sure. Just looking to gain any sort of momentum that could get them in that offensive drive, able to gain as many yards as they can and find themselves as close as they can to that end zone.
Yeah.
Which we haven't really seen tonight, as the Toros defense have just caught Dobson a little bit off guard, it seems.
It's going to be interesting to see if the Toros can manage to score another touchdown in this game or if the Mustangs defense will stop them.
Yeah, so we see the Mustangs in offense finding Santoyo. And gets her flag pulled just past the 15-yard line. And that will be the end of the third quarter. So the score is still 42-0. Toros up. Just seeing some great stuff from the Toros. I mean, there's nothing really to critique there.
Yeah, they're just doing everything right. I really haven't seen any mistakes in the game. And, I mentioned Jesus Arzaga just doing a great job, just kind of finding ways to, succeed and just to improve on things that are already good. So always just looking to do better.
Yeah. Good stuff on the Toros sideline. And we're definitely starting to see a little bit of a gain in momentum on that Mustang side. Although we haven't seen a crazy drive in offense, we did just see a pass interception.
Yeah.
And we haven't seen anything like that from them, really tonight.
Yeah, their defense has definitely woke up. So it's going to be interesting if they can stop the Toros from scoring another touchdown before the game comes to an end. Right now we're in the fourth quarter already with 12 minutes to go. And Dobson just looking to score some points and just stop the Toros from scoring.
Yeah, and at the beginning, before the game, Layla Ruderman, when she interviewed Coach Polanco, for the Mustangs. He was talking about how this is a rivalry because these two teams are from Mesa. So it's a little bit of a Mesa rivalry. And yeah, so there's definitely that rivalry sense that we have going on out there.
Yeah, and it happens in every sport. The rivalry is just there.
Yeah, and it kind of fuels the fire a little bit. And a rivalry game is always a good game to watch.
Yeah, it's fun. It's competitive, and that's exactly what these girls are playing this sport for.
So we will see the Mustangs in offense. She will find Torres. Torres will pass or throw that ball to number 8, Samantha Armanetta, but incomplete pass for the Mustangs. And that's just been something that they've kind of struggled with throughout tonight. Now they take some time to recoup and kind of talk over their next plans. And the Toros defense is ready. Mercedes Torres getting that run from her coach Polanco. The center Santoyo will hand that off to Mercedes Torres, and that will be blocked by number 14, Jersey Levitt, who, she had a really good run in that first quarter. She's gone out there and I believe that's her third block tonight.
Yeah, she's definitely made her presence felt on the defensive side. And, it's going to be interesting to see if Dobson can manage their way to just finish the game with no more interceptions. And Jersey Levitt is a player that you definitely have to watch out for. She's had 3 interceptions this season, so not somebody that you want in the same zone that you're throwing the ball in.
Yeah, for sure. As the Mustangs will call a timeout. This will be their first for the half or the quarter. Both teams have 2 timeouts left. We have 10 minutes and 20 seconds left on the game clock. So, as this game, kind of reaches its end, what are you expecting to see from the Toros?
It's definitely going to be interesting. The Toros, they just have not let off the gas pedal at all the entire game. So, all props to them. They're obviously a very experienced team with an experienced coach. So it's going to be interesting, and then on the Dobson side, you just hope the best for them and wish them well for the rest of their season.
Hand off to Torres. Torres will look for number 4, Josiah Billy, who will make the complete pass with a dive into the ground. Great catch there from Billy. And that's the effort we want to see from the Mustangs with, 10 minutes left in this fourth quarter. It's just hitting the ground, going all out. It's going to be tough to come back from the score that we've had throughout this whole game, but just as long as they go out and, put on their A game for the last 9 minutes and 40 seconds that we have.
Yeah, and when you just look at, the history of the teams, this will be their 6th loss in a row. So, they're just trying to kind of pick up the pace and just find a win. And as I mentioned earlier, Dobson will be taking on Mesa at home on Thursday, Halloween, as we talked about a little while ago.
Yep.
So, going to be interesting to see if they're able to pull off a win against Mesa. And, they're just trying to find a way to improve on their record from last season, which was 5-4, and currently they are at 5-6.
Yeah, another Mesa rivalry. So seems to be a rivalry week for the Dobson Mustangs.
Yeah, and I messed that up. Their record last season was 6-7.
Kayla Hayes looking to find Torres, but incomplete passes that just kind of fumbles out of her hands. She was kind of accompanied there by Jade Urkoff from the Toros defense, just kind of in her way a little bit and allowed her to not really make that pass complete. So Mercedes Torres will take the field with the play that they will run. Most likely going to go to Kayla Hayes, as we've seen that connection has been prominent throughout the whole night tonight.
Yeah, they just have the connection and the chemistry together to just create plays.
Yeah, it's comfortable for them. Torres in possession of the ball will look for Josiah Billy, who will make a really good run before getting her flag pulled just before the 50-yard line.
Yeah, and what a huge effort by one of the defenders on the Toro side. I couldn't quite see her number, but she tried to intercept that and went down on the floor with a diving attempt, and that's exactly what separates the teams, and that shows exactly why they're so good. Right now with the score 42-0, 7 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and a play like that, all of the effort.
Yeah, for sure. So we will see a running clock. 7 minutes left in this fourth quarter and the second half. Center will release it to Torres. Torres will release it to Kayla Hayes, and Hayes will try to find Torres, but will be blocked by Toro's defense. I believe that was number 17, Kaylee Yazzie.
Yeah, and Dobson just out there trying to find a way around Mountain View's defense.
Yeah, it's been tough for them tonight, but they're doing a pretty good job, holding their own, I feel like. Despite the score, you kind of just have to not look at the scoreboard anymore and just look at the effort.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Good handoff to Billy. Billy will take the ball and she will run it, and she will kind of find her way past Destiny Rackley for the Toros defense and, just gets her flag pulled just past that 40-yard line. We're third and second. Just a little under 6 minutes left in the second half. And the Mustangs offense will keep going.
Yeah, they're just trying to find a way to work around the defenders. And what an interesting setup by the center.
And a
Oh,
little bit of a fumble there from Torres. Unable to make the catch there from the center. It's a little bit of maybe a miscommunication there from the release point.
yeah, that could have ended very bad.
Yeah. You'll see Torres take the field again with a play call from Coach Joe Polacco. Release from center to Torres. Torres will find Billy, and Billy will, after making that complete pass, get her flag pulled by the Toros defense. And another, pull from Jersey Levitt. All out defense from her tonight. Now the Mustangs will call another timeout, second on the half.
Yeah, and it'd be interesting to hear what Joe Polanco is saying to his team. Before the game, he was very optimistic, very encouraging to his team, and I'm sure he'll be that way the rest of the season. But it'd be interesting to hear what they're talking about right now. Obviously the team is just trying to find their way into the end zone for the first time of this game with only 4 minutes left on the clock, and Mountain View just not letting off the gas pedal. So, what would be the biggest takeaway for Dobson as they, walk out of this game and head into their next game against Mesa?
Yeah, I mean, you kind of have to give a round of applause to their effort. And I've said that throughout the whole broadcast tonight, but truly what I've seen is just the effort. They've had some pretty good drives on offense, and although they haven't found success in reaching the end zone, I think that's just their biggest takeaway is the fact that they're just an all-out effort team, and that's really what coach wanted to see.
Yeah, they're very team oriented and they're just working together there. When you look at the sideline, they're still communicating, they're still, cheering each other on.
Yeah.
And, that's the key to success.
Yeah, and you got to stay curious, like you were saying, if what Coach Joe Polanco is saying to his team, you wonder if it's frustration or if it's more of motivation. Um, with that, we can't really tell. Not down there to be able to hear, but I want to lean more towards the motivation side as this has been, like I mentioned earlier, they had a pretty long offensive drive, and now we're seeing another one of those long offensive drives.
Yeah, and there hasn't been a lot of them. So it's going to be interesting to see how they handle this one. They haven't obviously scored any points in this game, and they're just kind of trying to find their way into the end zone for the first time tonight to score some points before heading out of this game.
All right, we will see. Both teams take the field now for the last 4 minutes of this game. Center will hand that off to Torres. And a good catch by number 8, Samantha Armanetta, who will make a few yardage gain before getting her flag pulled by Kaylee Yazzie for the Toros defense, who we've seen pretty strong on that defensive squad tonight. Kaylee Yazzie.
Yeah, definitely making her presence felt there on the defensive side. Nearly 3 minutes left to go for Dobson and Mountain View.
Now we see some motion. Hand off to Hayes, who will then hand off to Billy. And Billy will make a little bit of a run, but will result in a loss
Yeah,
from yard pull.
what an interesting play there. I'd be interested to hear as to what the game plan was for that one.
Yeah, I wonder if it was either some miscommunication or that's really what they had in their books, and they're maybe just trying out some new things. It's not new to see some teams, with either being ahead a lot or being down a lot, just trying new things.
Yeah, and just trying to find something that will work and that they can use in the next game.
Yeah, for sure. 2 minutes and 45 seconds left on the game clock. Hand off to Torres, who will find Billy, who will hand off to Hayes. And if I'm mistaken, that's kind of like the same thing that we just saw in that last play. So who knows? It could be a little experiment for them.
Yeah, I would agree with you. Maybe they, didn't quite do it correctly on the first try and they're just trying it again, or I'm not sure, but I do think that they are experimenting, like you said.
Yeah, and we see some dance moves there from Emery Walker. You love to see the Mustangs still hyped up.
Yeah, it just kind of shows you what their chemistry is like. And as soon as they get, the team in rhythm with that chemistry, it will be really, really good.
Yeah, for sure. So as they call their last time out of this half and the quarter, the Mustangs have no more timeouts. So just a little bit of a pep talk before the game reaches its close.
Can you zoom in a little further? Okay, that's fine.
Now it's getting a little bit more chilly.
Yeah, it's just getting colder and colder by the minute. And it was funny because after halftime, we came back and, this AC was pointed at us.
Yeah, so we were like, it's really cold and it's not as cold as we thought it was.
Yeah, but it still is chilly out there. Definitely, if you were here, you would need a sweatshirt or a jacket like the rest of the fans in attendance tonight.
Even some beanies out there. Love to see it. It's beanie season. I gotta pull mine out. All right, we see both teams take the field for the last 2 minutes of this fourth quarter and the second half. We will see center release that to Billy, who will throw that, but a little bit of an incomplete pass there for the Mustangs. Number 13, Leilani Chicas. First time we've said her name tonight. One of those wide receivers who just hasn't really been on the receiving end of Mercedes Torres's throws.
Yeah, I think it's just been a lot of Kayla Hayes tonight. We've seen her with a lot of receptions, but also trying to establish the running game as well.
Now we see the Toros in offense, handoff to Metcalf. Metcalf will find Lamoureux, and Lamoureux will throw the ball to number 5, Alexis Archibald, who will make a pretty good gain before getting her flag pulled just past that 45-yard line.
Yeah, and Archibald has had a game tonight. Earlier she scored a touchdown, and she's just been on the receiving end of those long plays.
Yeah, and Archibald, a junior, so she's pretty experienced for this Toros offense. She's done a great job. Good connection there with Metcalf and with Lamoureux. So this will most likely be the last shot in offense for the Toros tonight, as Metcalf just does not find Archibald, if that's who she was going for, just to throw kind of into the abyss there. Now, we haven't really seen that from Metcalf tonight, but they don't really have much to lose.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what the approach is, for Dobson heading into the rest of their regular season. I mentioned that their next game is on Thursday against Mesa, and then for the Mountain View side, their next game is against Westwood. So not that many games left for flag football in Arizona, but a great game tonight for the Mountain View Toros.
And the Toros will take a knee and call off this fourth quarter and the game tonight with a final score of 42-0. Now, we saw really, really strong Toros offense, and we saw, a kind of struggling Mustangs offense. They played some great defense, though. They really held their own in that defensive run. Now, what do you expect, to see from the Mustangs? You kind of touched on it, but what would you say is one thing that the Mustangs should focus on going into their next game?
I think that they need to really work on the running game because the passing game isn't working out for them. They tried it all night long and just couldn't connect. But, every team has a bad night. And so maybe that was the case tonight for Dobson. And heading into Mesa, I think they will do better. And now they're on a 6-game losing streak, so they're just trying to break that streak. And they have 3 games left of the regular season. So they're just trying to find every way possible to make something work.
Yeah, for sure. So, good rest of the season coming up for both teams. And yeah, stay tuned for our post-game interviews. Thanks to our sideline reporter, Layla Ruderman, who will conduct interviews with both head coaches and our player of the game, which I believe will be Metcalf, the quarterback for the Mountain View Toros. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Have a great rest of your night.